My main objective is to make it go viral in Kuwait. I wasn't expecting it to go viral in the world. This is new. This is incredible. You know, it's a very passionate thing when you have this idea, like just in your mind, like I really want to do this. You don't care about money. You don't care about the viewers. You don't care about anything. It's just I just want to do this.
What's like the most important skill as a director?
For me, the most important thing is pre-planning, pre-production. There are problems that will arise, and it's about how good your problem solving is on set during that. But to minimize the problems you have on set is if you had a really good pre-production. Difficult doesn't mean that you're not having fun, especially in filmmaking. If you're not having fun, you're not going to do a good project. And I say that out of experience. And I think the Makan video, the one I did was showing me enjoying filmmaking again as a solo project as well.
A couple weeks ago, I actually covered Mo's video on my Instagram and TikTok, and it absolutely went viral. Not because of me, but because the video is that good. Filmmakers Instagram account reposted it, and also Eye Candy, and it's been making its rounds online. Wild. If you guys want to check out the video breakdown of that video with Mo the filmmaker himself, I actually posted that one last week, and you can find it in the link in my description. And before we actually get to the video itself, I wanted to say thank you to the sponsors of today's video, Uppbeat. They have so many assets that I use on this channel already: motion graphics, sound effects, and the music that you hear throughout these podcasts. So if you guys want to check them out, it's absolutely free with the link in my description or the pinned comment. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. Let's get on with this episode. This week has probably been crazy for you, or the last week or 2 weeks. For me, just by covering you, things have gone like people commenting. So I can only imagine where you're at. And then I started noticing filmmakers account, Eye Candy. I was like, oh, all at the same time. It kind of just, you had this one push. How are you feeling right now with like all that stuff?
I mean, I'm overwhelmed. It's an incredible feeling because, to be honest, I think it's every filmmaker's dream to be recognized when he puts in the time and effort and things. It's like you're cradling your own baby when you're doing videos, and then you see all these comments from all these different peoples and all these different accounts, and it's just like a breath of fresh air. You know, it's a new feeling, and it's an incredible feeling. Like I recognize from people in Brazil, from people in Spain, China, the US, from all around the world. I mean, it's a beautiful feeling. I'm enjoying it, to be honest.
Did you know that video was gonna pop off like it did? Because like there's something, I feel like when you make something so good, you're like, oh, this can, as soon as it catches wind, it's gonna take
Yeah.
off. Did you feel like that?
I mean, I wasn't. I mean, I wasn't anticipating the world to be talking about, like the whole film industry to be talking about video. I was, because when you do a video, you're just thinking about, okay, because my client is in Kuwait, and I was thinking that, okay, my main objective is to make it go viral in Kuwait. That was my own objective and my goal, and that was enough for me, I think, to have it go viral. But I wasn't expecting it to go viral in the world. The project was actually for my brother's restaurant, Al Makan. So when I gave them the idea, I was like, okay, this is kind of a new way of filming a video. So I don't know if it's gonna be good or not good, because I'm just trying out something new. So it might not even work. It might be really bad. I'm not sure. It was all about the execution. Since it went viral in Kuwait, I was happy, and then day by day, it was just going viral in the world, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is new. This is incredible. What's happening?" And then I've got accounts like you, as you said, Eye Candy, filmmakers. I think that was incredible. What's happening towards that
Dude,
video?
it's wild. It's like, it almost feels like all the effort and work, all the learning. Not to say that before
Yeah,
it didn't count, because obviously, you and your production studio have great content. But there's something about when a collective like the internet gets a hold of something, and it's just like, it's
yeah,
like fire almost,
exactly. Yeah,
This video is like more of like a solo project. You mentioned it in even some of the stories where,
yeah,
shooting and doing all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
You're directing for 2 years prior, right? And like really being
yeah,
the head of that. And
exactly.
then you had this idea. I saw in your story, you're talking about you had
Yeah.
this idea and you didn't know, and then you started doing some shoots. Like, what kind of made you want to try something new? Like, cause that's scary for anyone.
It is. It is. To be honest, I think because, as you said, I've been a director for 2 years now. But before that, I was a filmmaker. So I was, and I still consider myself as a filmmaker as well, not just a director. Because before the 2 years of directing, I was just trying out new ways of filming. So I have a passion for filming. So everything before directing was solo, in terms of that. So it was a way of experimenting. I think that's the way I should put it. As I was experimenting with commercials, like fake commercials, I would do just by myself. I would try out different ways of doing it. So I've always had that thing of experimenting with how I can shoot a video. So when I came up with this idea, it was, I would say it's like an epiphany that hit me, because I was in Chicago at that time, and I was just in bed. I was just scrolling through my laptop, and I'm a very music driven director. I think I would call myself, or a filmmaker. I was just listening to different music. I was watching different videos, and then I just had this idea, because I used to do a lot of match cuts before and videos, but not at this level. So I always loved transitions. I'm always keen on doing transition in my videos. It would just popped up that I wanted to do this video where everything is just, there's this thing, as you covered in your video. You caught it, I think, early, which was really good. That I always wanted to have this, like, I stuck in the middle of the video, and with my love for transitions, I just wanted this video to, each shot to complete each other. So this was just like an initial idea, and then I worked on it a bit more, and that's where I got my brother. He came to me and he was like, "Hey, it's my restaurant's 10-year anniversary. We want to do a video. Could you do something for us?" And I was like, this is perfect. This is extremely perfect. Like the idea I had in my head, this can be true. I mean, I can make it into real, because it was, it's a very passionate thing when you have this idea, like, just in your mind, like, I really want to do this. You don't care about money, you don't care about the viewers, you don't care about anything. It's just, I just want to do this. I really want to do this video. Once I got that project, I was like, okay, this is perfect. And that's where I think I worked on it, and until I was like, okay, this is where I can start doing my videos. That's why on my story I put that I tested out that with my pen. I was just doing like these, or the lid of the pen. I was just trying out the effect, seeing if it's doable or not, and that's, yeah. And then I just started doing the pre-production on it, and that's where it took me.
How long from the idea to when your brother messages you? Is that over a certain period of time?
I think it was like a month.
That's crazy.
I didn't show anyone this, but on my phone, I have like a list of notes. Let me
Oh,
see if I can.
okay.
So this is just me when I'm in shopping, or like I'm at home, and then there's an idea that pops into my head. I just write it down. I just jot it down. When I came up with this idea, it was the longest jot down I've had. So each of them were just like sentences, small paragraphs, and then for that idea, it was just a long, 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 long thing of just me writing down different stuff of,
What?
I don't know.
Is it just
Every time I
is it
come up with
just
that idea, I just write
random? Like random
random
idea?
things.
It could be like
Random, like,
like the shape
if
of food,
yeah,
and you're like, "Oh, this would look good," or just it's just
exactly.
because I saw your sketches, or like it almost looked like a
Yeah,
notebook on your storyboard, and I was
yeah,
like, "This is such a filmmaker's book where it just looks like ideas, just like little drawings here and
yeah,
there." Does that come after that? Like you're jotting that down, and then you start.
yeah.
Oh, wow, what?
This is where the idea started on my phone. So it was just me, like, continuing things. So when I first wrote down the idea, it was completely different to what I came up with. So it was, I mean, I still had that thing that's stuck in the middle, but the way I wrote the idea I had in my head, it was just normal. And that's where I built on it. And I just added sentences. So, and one day you can see me write maybe 3 sentences to it. Oh, I could do this. Oh, I can match cut this between this. Oh, if I do this within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I was just adding and adding and adding and adding to these until I got the project for my brother. And that's where I was like, okay, I should build on this. This is where I took it from.
Hold on, wait. So like you had the idea. Did you have ideas of food before your brother came to you with the restaurant? Like it was what was the thing that you were like writing down that was in the center of every frame before your brother
Uh,
came to you? Was it just,
it
random
was
stuff, or was it actually like what we see in the video? Like it's the kitchen and the food and things
No,
like that.
it wasn't. It wasn't like that. It was just purely me writing down a center of the viewer should be stuck in the middle of the screen center, locked on. Then I write locked on stabilization. Then I write match cuts that sometimes I have to do a shot that comes from up and then it smashes into something, and then I have to reverse a shot to make it come. It's not food, but it was just like me completing
Wow.
the match cuts before actually doing. I mean, integrating that with the food concept that I had. But it was just me writing down, like, I wrote down, hey, I should make sure the shutter speed is extremely high so you don't have a lot of motion blur on the video. Like things that I had to write down
More
just to
technical.
complete more
Yeah.
technical stuff. Yeah, I would say, yeah. And some things were transitions, like, oh, okay, I should, if there was a ball hitting something, uh, maybe make it rotation and then have the rotation rotate on the item, but the background is rotating, but the item is still center. So these were things that I wrote down just as an idea.
Do you always work like that, where your ideas are technical first and then, because I feel like for a lot of people the idea of like the food and stuff would come first, and then it's like, okay,
Yeah.
how do we do this shot? I've rarely heard of anyone who's like, it's like all technical and then boom, it's like, oh, I could do this stuff with your right. Like, is that how you work? Do you work more technical first and then ideation?
To be honest, this was the first time I actually did something like
That's
this.
great.
So yeah, because it was the issue was this with this video is I didn't have an inspiration to go by, because I think it was something new for me to create. Like I did have some like references I can go off of, but it was a new way of me trying to create something new in terms of filming how I did the video. So it was, let me do the technical stuff first, because I'm not sure if I can find something that can relate to the exactly what I'm doing. So I had to be very technical in the beginning because I'm trying to do something new. Because of that idea I had in my mind. So it was very technical, yeah. But in terms of that, yeah, it was the first time for me to be that technical, like doing a month whole thing of just technical things on my phone before actually getting a project. So yeah, it was yeah.
That's
It's the first time
insane.
doing something like that.
Uh,
Yeah.
is this now that you've seen, like, are you gonna kind of go about a lot of your work like that first, like more of a technical aspect, or are you just gonna let it come to you? Like it just felt natural for you to do this. I'm assuming, like you're like, man, I really wanted to do
Yeah,
this and stuff like that. What's the approach
exactly.
now that you've seen like this crazy amount of success that people are enjoying? Does it change your strategy?
To be honest, it might, because as I told you, I love to experiment. So this was actually me experimenting with a video as well, which did extremely well. So I've experimented before, and I did fail before. To be honest, with experimental works I've done. So some of them did fail, but I think if you're passionate about something, you don't care if it's, you just keep on experimenting. So this was I think a good way of experimenting through my video there, and I always love to experiment. So I think some videos I would still do, because as you said, it's, this just came out as an idea. So it's not like, hey, do this video. Okay, oh, I have this idea for it. No, it's I had this idea and then the project came and I was like, okay, this is where I can do the video. So it's sometimes it just comes to you, and in the weirdest places. So I was about to sleep and that's where it hit me. Probably in the future, I would do that same style, but I do have other ways of going about projects that I work on. So there's different ways of taking projects on.
Man, it's like I didn't want to talk about this video right in the beginning, but we're here because I wanted to talk about all the other stuff. But now that we're talking about other projects, is it different when you're working with your studio, like, and getting clients like that? What's the process there?
With my studio, it's a production house. So we do a production house and a creative agency. So we do come up with the ideas as well with Sharit Studios. And it's me and my partner, Hamoud Al Khamis, who's also a producer. So he's the producer. I'm the in-house director in our production house. So usually we get the brief from a client, and it's different. So we have the, like, what they want to sell. Let's come up with ideas. Maybe it's a storytelling idea. It's not always like trying out camera techniques with them. So it's okay. We have this brief. okay, how can we sell this product in a good way that viewers would start buying them? So this is where we brainstorm, we come up with different ideas, storytelling ideas, or maybe sometimes transitions as well, if it's on my side as well. So it's just a brainstorming session. So it's different. So the studio style is more like a very rigid step taking process, because you have the client and you can't sometimes, and I wrote that down. Sometimes with the issue with the clients is they love to play it safe. When I'm talking about big corporations, banks, and telecommunications, it's very difficult to tell them that I want to do something new. I want to try this. I want to try this. They're scared of trying new things. They love to play it safe. So that's why the ideas have to be within the limits. But when I work with other clients, which are more local and more youthful, hip kind of things, that's where they love to experiment. They love to try new things. They're ready to take the risks. That's why my process is different with local and youthful clients more than bigger corporations and telecommunication kind of companies.
It goes through so many different people, and it's
Yeah.
like it's so many different hands, as opposed to local almost feels very indie, where it's like, hey, you guys want this? Because I noticed that on your Vimeo and on your website, there's a lot of humor in the videos that you guys do, which is hilarious, and the colors are so. I'm like, is that part of the ideation process where you guys sit down when you guys start coming up with stuff? Is humor the number one thing where you're like, okay, this kind of let's kind of enjoy this because it's funny, like some of the stuff that you guys have done.
It depends on the project itself, but I think because when we're selling, we mainly work in Kuwait. When you have comedy, comedy is one of the highest lovable kind of ads in Kuwait. The residents in Kuwait love the humor a lot. So we have humor, emotional and heartwarming videos are the highest that gains reactions and likes and shares. I love working with humor, and as I said, when I'm experimenting, even when I'm doing storytelling, I've worked doing comedy, which I love as well, and sometimes I did work with emotion as well. I love to challenge myself in ways that it's different. So I don't want to repeat the things that I do. So I did humor, and then let me try doing emotion. And when I did emotion, I was trying to grasp how can I do emotion. I've never tried it before, so let me try to do it. And that's where you learn. I think as a director or a filmmaker, it's all about trying new things, because if I keep on doing the same thing, you won't really grow. As I said, the camera technique video that I did with Al Makan, this is me showing off what I've learned as a director and a filmmaker. When I've had the humor videos, it's me showcasing that, okay, I'm growing as a director as well. I can do storytelling. And when I'm doing emotional videos, it's me trying out new ways. And I think with each video is just me learning, because you never stop learning. I think even if you're 20 years old, 50 years old, 80 years old, in this film industry, I think you never stop learning, because every video you do is just a stepping stone of you learning from your mistakes, learning how you do it even better. So on all those videos, yeah.
For you personally, after doing these, is doing the more emotional stuff harder, or is the comedy harder?
I think comedy is harder than emotion. Comedy is I don't know, because the way you do storytelling is extremely. I mean, you can wow viewers with camera techniques, which are nice. Storytelling in terms of comedy is you have to. It's so difficult to make them laugh. That's why I always say the hardest job in the world is a stand-up comedian. I till this day I still say that. Standing in front of thousands of viewers and then trying to make them laugh just by a mic, this is
Yeah.
incredibly difficult. So trying to make them laugh with a video is it's challenging, but it's a fun way. I mean, the good thing about us in comparison to a stand-up comedian is us, we have a lot of planning, pre-production, and they do have as well, but they're doing it live. We're actually doing it. Okay, you have shooting and all of that. So the good thing with us is when I'm doing comedy, it's nice to have a good pre-production, trying out different scripts, trying out different ways of filming, because it's not just about the script itself. It's about the camera angle or the shock or the camera movement that you have, the facial emotion the character is giving you. So it's a lot of things that goes into each other that creates comedy and doing it, because if you don't have everything aligned, it can come off as cheap, which I think is why comedy videos are very difficult, is because you don't want the video to come off as really cheap in front of the viewers, in front of the client. So yeah, comedy is difficult, but I think I love working with comedy. I think from my last few ads, I've worked with comedy, and it's something I'm enjoying working on in terms of that, because when you compare it to emotional, emotional is also difficult, but I think it's playing around with lighting when you're talking about emotion. Lighting is a key aspect of creating emotion, I think, as well as of course the facial and reactions you want from the character themselves. But lighting is a huge part of emotion, and I think during emotional videos, the DOP is, I wouldn't say more important than the director, but he is as important as the director in that sense, because he needs to show emotion through his lighting as well. So that's why emotional videos have a different take on, or a different route in that way.
I agree with a lot of that stuff. I think comedies are the toughest. Comedians, the improv part, and like you as a director, I almost feel like you have to get it too. You have to like think with the actors, and you guys probably do this when you guys do casting calls, right? You guys have
Exactly.
people, and it's like, okay, this person is funny, or it's like, can this person be funny if they did a different kind of facial feature? And it's like, can you give me that? So it almost feels like the whole team needs to understand what the comedy is for it to really
Exactly.
be believable on screen. Because if one person doesn't think so, like even if the actor doesn't think so, it's like, man, you might not nail it at all, right?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Because as you said, actors are a huge part, or the main part, because you don't want to, as I said, you don't want to come off as cheap. And there are some actors which are incredible actors. They're good comedy. Like in terms of comedy, they're really good when we do casting calls. But some videos, it's not just about how good you are acting, but the personality or the look of the person can sell off that comedy in that sense. So I've had actors that I've brought in are incredibly good at comedy, but when I've seen them, I'm like, okay, but you're not right for the role, because of, I need a person who's maybe a bit more awkward. And in that sense, the role is, he might even not be a good actor, but the awkwardness he has works incredibly well with what I want to achieve. So it's as you said, casting call is important in terms of comedy and acting, because of that kind of thing, and as well, personality plays a huge role in it. Maybe a person that you want is extremely thin, or whose facial, his mustache is different in terms of that. The person, the girl has a different hairstyle. So these small details help hugely, I think, in the way comedy is portrayed in the video that you have for the characters you have for that role.
What's like the most important skill as a director?
For me, the most important thing is pre-planning, pre-production, because once you have a good pre-production, it makes the shoot so much easier. Because I think we've all worked in production sets, and there are problems that will arise, and it's about how good your problem solving is on set during that. But to minimize the problems you have on set, as if you had a really good pre-production. Everyone's aligned: the stylist, the art director, the DOP, the producer, the production manager. So if everyone is aligned and everyone knows exactly what they're doing at the specific time, it's easier for me, because I love to come in to the set knowing exactly what I want to do in terms of also the camera movements and the lenses, and as I said, all of those things, because I think everyone would agree the main enemy we have during the shoot on set is time. So you have a specific time that you need to shoot the video, and if you surpass the time, sometimes you're working with budget, so you don't have enough budget to go over time and all that. So you have to minimize those problems. So if you have a good pre-production, your set time is going to be as you say in the call sheet. And for me, as I said, the pre-production is the most important part for me to make sure everyone is aligned, to make sure we don't have those issues on set themselves.
You mentioned that you missed working on solo projects, like
Yeah.
before you did, before the video that came out. Um, what made you miss it? Going from directing for 2 years and having a crew and doing all this, you know,
Yeah.
because you'd probably still do pre-production, but then pre-production with the crew, is crazier than pre-production with, okay,
It
me
is.
and my. So what made you miss it?
I missed it because I was a filmmaker before I was a director. So I started from, I think my first camera was a Sony A6300, and before that, I was actually filming with my phone. So it was just a phone filmmaking. So it was just me starting out, and then I moved on to the A6300, which was a very small DSLR, and then I slowly built up to the Black Magic, and then to other things. So when I started doing the solo projects, when I first started out, the sky is the limit. There are no limitations. No one can tell you no, don't do that. No one can tell you, oh no, the brand guidelines or the this cannot work, or and you can't really do this. I think when my name first came out in the region, in Kuwait, and let's say maybe in Saudi and Qatar and the UAE, Bahrain, Oman, so in the GCC area, um, it was me. It was during Corona, and it was just me because I was bored as hell. And during Corona, I got bored of FIFA. I got bored of PlayStation and Call of Duty and playing all those games. And I was like, you know what? There's no projects right now. Let me make myself even better. So I had this like 2 by 2 small room in our house. Sorry, 2 meters by 2 meters. I was like, let me just create fake commercials. Let me do that thing. So it was me just doing whatever I wanted, whatever I had in my head. I did like this Coca-Cola commercial, and this was the first time that I went viral, I think, in our region, is me creating that Coca-Cola, fake Coca-Cola commercial. And it was just me getting inspiration off the internet and trying out different ways of shooting this cola, and doing transitions, and shooting like a green screen kind of thing. And I enjoyed it so much because I had this passion inside me of filmmaking, of trying, and I keep saying this word, experimenting with videos. And it was just me with no limits, trying out different ways, doing a lot of mistakes. And everyone who's asking me is, how did you get how did you become good at editing and all that, is mistakes. And when you do solo projects and there's no limits, is you can do as many mistakes as you can, as much mistakes that you can do. And mistakes really did help me in terms of editing, in terms of filming. I didn't know how to do shutter speed and shutter angles and exposure and aperture and all of that. I was just experimenting and doing mistakes with them, and that's where I got to knowing that. So when I did these solo projects, is I didn't have limitations, as I said. So when I got into directing, it was incredible. It was a huge boost for me because I didn't know that I was gonna be a director. I didn't put it in the plan. To be honest, I didn't have it in my future plans that I was gonna be a director, but it just happened. Like a production house or a creative agency, who are my friends. I love them. In Kuwait, they're called the Bus Stop. So they approached me. They love my videos, the ones I did as a solo project, and they saw that, okay, yeah, you have a good eye in videos. How about you direct a commercial for us? And that's where they got me into the directing world. And I was like, oh, wow, I can work with these budgets. I can work with the crew. I have a stylist. I have the effects. I have, and all of these. So that's where I enjoyed it. And then I was directing a lot. And there are commercials where I enjoy doing. But there's a lot of commercials which are corporate commercials that have a lot of limitations in terms of their brand guidelines, in terms of their cultural aspect that we cannot surpass, or limitations that, okay, you can't really do this, you can't really wear that, you can't really do these kind of things. And the 2 years I've had, some projects were amazing, and some projects are like, okay, I just have to do this project, and it's not me showing who I really am as a director. That's why when I did this video after 2 years, I was like, I have this idea in my head, and this is really me. This is really Mohammed Al Nashi. Like, I love these transitions that I've worked so hard as a director and as a filmmaker. Let me do this video of showcasing what I learned as a director and what I did as a filmmaker, putting them all together in a solo project kind of thing. That's why I say I miss solo projects, is because I can do what I want. To be honest, I can do what I want without the limitations I have from clients and from like different board members and different people.
It almost makes you feel like a kid again, you know? Like,
So
uh,
that's so true. That's so
right?
true. Yeah,
Where you're like,
that's
it's
true.
like,
True.
no one's gonna tell me like this is like, even if it is not right or ugly, it's like, no one can,
Yeah,
like, I can do it. How
I can
long
look here.
how long was it? Oh, like when was it when you picked up your phone and started filming till now? How many years is that?
Beginning of 2017, let's say, was when I picked up my phone and
Wow.
started filming. Yeah. So it was just me filming. I think in 2017, and it was just my phone. I think I bought my first camera was in 2018. So that was the A6300, and my first client was actually, yeah, maybe mid 2018, I would say, in that sense.
Wow.
So mid 2018 was my first client. Who was a very small shoot, and was something I was actually unpaid shoot was when I had that client, and it was, I remember, for a gym, I think, or something like that. Yeah, it was just me trying out different ways and then shooting, and it was like, when I look back, oh, it was a horrible video, but I mean, that's what you have to start somewhere, you know. You have to
You
start,
have to.
and
You
it's
have
okay.
to.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay.
I feel like a lot of people need that. They see what you do
Yeah,
now, and they're either like, even comment on my video is like, man, I just started doing video work, and it's like now I want to quit.
yeah.
This has been like
This is a
8 years.
process.
Yeah, it's 8 years. You have to do,
It's
and you
yeah,
went through COVID,
exactly.
and you did. So that's why I feel
Yeah.
like people need to see like, oh, okay, his first videos kind of look like mine.
Yeah, exactly. And
Maybe
it was yeah, they were they were bad videos, and I'm not ashamed of saying it, because
they have to
it's
be.
you have to, yeah, you have to, because it's new to you. It's in the beginning, it's a hobby, and once you get into the hobby, you're not going to do something good in the beginning, because you don't know how the camera works, you don't know how editing works, but you're starting somewhere. And I when I look back, if hopefully I have those videos, but when I look back, it's, you see that, okay, I started to learn in this video. I started to learn how to do probably an edit, or this video. Okay, I was trying something, it didn't work out, but I see that I did this effort in this specific scene. It's good to have bad videos. I think our day and age, social media, it made a person so self-conscious about what they put out, and what they do. So and I'm not ashamed of saying that I was going through that as well. I was scared of putting out the videos that I did. I was like, oh no, but I've seen this commercial which was much better than mine, and it was so much better. But so that means I'm not doing something good. Is my videos good? Are they doing good? I don't know if I did something good. Be proud of what you're doing. I think that's the main thing, is be proud of your journey. And I think I wrote that during my in my last video, the Al Makan video, is the good thing about where you arrive is your journey that you took. And it's, the journey is difficult. It should be difficult. It's not easy. Difficult doesn't mean that you're not having fun, especially in filmmaking. If you're not having fun, you're not going to do a good project. And I say that out of experience, because I did videos where I wasn't motivated. I was like, I'm just going to do anything. So you do it, and then you're like, oh, I didn't do a good job. But that was because I wasn't having fun. But have fun with the videos. I mean, this is so important to be having fun. And I think the Al Makan video, the one I did, was showing me enjoying filmmaking again as a solo project as well.